Our first speaker up is Mark Welsh. Mark, as I said, is leading the work package 3, the wind to hydrogen in Energia. Mark is a chartered engineer at the Energy Institute. He has over 40 years experience within the energy sector. His energy career has touched in most areas in the electricity industry, which has given him a very wide knowledge and experience. He commenced in Belfast Power Station, and his work has included Northern Ireland Electricity, NIE metering, electric design and installation, terms of supply, industrial sales, key account management, energy marketing, projects and energy efficiency. Mark's CV goes on a lot longer, but I think that's a good enough introduction. But one of the things is, and this will say, our GenCom project is about partnership. Today's webinar is also about partnership. And by linking all of those partners together, that's why GenCom's successful, and we want to continue that journey as we move forward. Mark, over to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Paul. Great introduction as ever, and thank you. Paul just asked to give an update on our GenCom project, which is the wind to hydrogen, and then just a few thoughts and discussion points for options for hydrogen for innovation, and how hydrogen can help deliver our energy requirements to meet our zero emission targets. And it'll be we are based in Northern Ireland, so I'll be looking at the success we've had with renewable energy in Northern Ireland, and in the options for using like curtailment and in the future. I'm sure a lot of you have seen about Energia and heard about Energia in the past, but I just wanted to briefly just touch on the type of company that we are. You know, we have already invested £1 billion in Ireland, and our positive energy programme will include a further £3 billion investment, and it'll range from AD plant to offshore renewables, to our offshore wind, and developing our onshore, and of course green hydrogen production. At the moment, we do have a gas powered fire station. It is 747 megawatts, and that will deliver about 11% of an all Ireland electricity demand requirements. We have 750,000 customers, and that equates to about a quarter of the Irish market. And we do have a target that we want to get ourselves up to about a third, and our target will be to get that 1 million customers on the island of Ireland. And so we do have a target for growth as well. We do have 1,300 megawatts of renewables that we have contracted for, and we have also our 309 megawatts of our own renewables. So we are wind farms. So we are a major player in Ireland as far as renewable energy is concerned. And of course, we're looking at developing hydrogen. And our first project was, of course, the GenCom project, together with what we call, it's a hydrogen transport program from the UK, from OZEV, the Office for Zero Emission Vehicles. And it's split into two sections. And the first section is that we'll be installing an electrolyzer onto one of our wind farms at Long Mountain. It's a 500 kilowatt electrolyzer, and we'll be producing around about 8 kilograms per hour. The project has been held up due to COVID. And each of the stages I'll be letting you know where we are on it. But the electrolyzer should have been in September. COVID hit us hard last year with a few delays. We are now looking for the plant to arrive in the middle of May. It should be operational and commissioned in June. So we'll be installing the electrolyzer on the site on the wind farm. And then the aim is obviously to use a curtailment, and I'll show you how that will happen soon. The hydrogen that is generated completely from wind source, from renewables, will be stored in trailers. These are mobile trailers, and those trailers will be moved to the hydrogen refueling station. So the trailers are here and arrived, and we're using them. We're using them for a temporary hydrogen supply to supply TransLink at the moment. So they're here, and the trailers themselves are working well for us. The refueling station will be placed in Belfast. It's going into the TransLink depot at Milewater Service Centre. This is the photograph of our unit. I know it's quite small, but that is our refueling station. It hasn't arrived yet. It'll be coming next week. The unit is finished and just going through its final commissioning, and will arrive at TransLink and be installed. The civil works has commenced. The concrete is being poured tomorrow for the base of it, so everything is going well on that stage. And then TransLink has purchased, as part of the project, its first 3 double-deck buses. Those 3 double-deck buses has arrived. Again, there's a bit of delay, and they should have been here in the middle of last year, but again came in December. And so those buses are now arrived, and when they get them on the road, they're manufactured by Wrightbus, and we're working exceptionally well for them. So just a recap on where we are in Northern Ireland as far as renewable generation is concerned. As you can see, in 2008 we were sitting at 8.4%. Or 2010 we're sitting at 8.4% of renewables generated over the year in Northern Ireland, and the build has been excellent. And we can see now in 2020, as it is ramped up each year, we're now sitting at just under 50% of renewables generated on an annual basis. This has been a remarkable rise. Our target was, as everyone else's, was 20% by 2020. When we're doing that well, that was increased to 40%. And with a target of 40 and coming up touching 50% has been a real success story for Northern Ireland. And we can see just roughly what it means as far as what type of renewables it is on the grid. You can see that we're looking at it's 50-50 between renewable and fossil fuels, and almost 85% of the renewable generation does come from wind, with some from biomass, biogas, and about 3.4% of solar PV. So when we had started GenCom, we knew that the growth in renewables was going to be at around with wind, and along with that, we knew that there was going to be an issue with curtailment. And you can see that curtailment is quite high. It's sitting between 10 and 15%, and as you would expect, that most of the curtailment is happening at night time. And this is the annual consumption, where at night time we're getting 60 gigawatt hours of curtailment at night. And our aim was to say, look, can we take that energy and can we produce another form of energy, and that would be in the form of hydrogen, and to store that and use it as required. So we had the idea. Maybe Robert, you could go on mute if you wouldn't mind. Maybe the idea was, can we use this hydrogen, and can it meet the mobility and the energy needs and demands? And that was a question that we were asking, and hence GenCom started. And we said, look, well, if we get a project together, we can actually model and see what can be delivered from a wind curtailment. But it is a challenge to meet all the demands. And I just wanted to show you Northern Ireland. If you want to look at an Ireland perspective, you probably multiply these by 3 and multiply them by 30 if you want to look at the UK. But in Northern Ireland, as you can see, our electricity, we're looking at almost 8,000 gigawatt hours, 7,800 gigawatt hours in 2017. And now we've been successful, and as I've already said, we've got 50% at renewables. And our gas supply, we're looking at almost 6,000 gigawatt hours. And, there is a challenge that can we get that zero emission from our gas supply? But you can see the biggest user is obviously our petroleum and fossil fuel products, where we're looking at 30 gigawatt hours, which is split almost 50-50 between heat and transport. So there is a real challenge of how we're going to decarbonize our network. And we do believe that hydrogen will and can play a real part of that. So I just wanted to discuss a number of areas that we should be thinking about, and we should be discussing at this time. The first is offshore. There is a real enormous potential for renewable hydrogen, delivering that decarbonization in our gas network. There is a challenge to get that 6,000 gigawatt hours decarbonized, and using offshore, using the curtailment from onshore power, it has real potential because it will generate 100% green energy, and then green hydrogen, and that hydrogen can then be injected into the gas grid and used for our heating of homes and offices, which will also help reduce the petroleum products, or likes of our oil heating, etc., that needs to be used, is being used in Northern Ireland. Offshore will significantly increase renewable energy produced, and it will be a major step forward if we can just capture these offshore targets. Energia, for example, is looking at 2 gigawatt hours of offshore. We're looking to see ways that we can be involved in building out our offshore portfolio, and that will be a major way to step forward for our 2050 net zero targets. But it's not going to be easy, and it will require significant cooperation between all the major players. The regulators, government, utility operators all have to be involved. And just want to briefly touch on a topic of the geothermal of energy to deliver for our heating homes. And it's going to be important. The shallow areas for our industrial and commercial premises, heat pumps have potential to deliver heat 24/7. And we know that Northern Ireland has actual geothermal resources, and the shallow end of it, going underground to extract the heat underground, can be a real opportunity for Northern Ireland. And looking 20, maybe 30 years away, deep geothermal, where we can go down to the 3 kilometers, has real potential for getting that heat for electrical generation, which of course can then produce hydrogen that can be injected into our gas grid. And we really need our industry and universities to be looking at all these opportunities. Of course, anaerobic digestion is going to be another key factor in delivering CO2 and CO2 savings. And one thing that we've been working on in GenCom is taking the biogas, extracting the CO2. We can react that with hydrogen, and it can produce more methane gas. 40% of the biogas is CO2. Reacting it with hydrogen can produce more clean and pure methane, which then can go back into the grid. And of course, hydrogen can be used for reducing the need for fossil fertilizers, because hydrogen reacting with nitrogen can produce ammonia, and then that can be changed into fertilizers. There's a lot of work still to be done in making our AD systems highly efficient. And one other thing, just very, very briefly, hydrogen reacting with waste plastic can alter its chemistry, and it can result in the production of fuels and high value waxes. We are working with Queen's on a number of projects, and the hydrogenation of plastics, well, the plastics basically melted, and then reacting with hydrogen can produce renewable fuels, and also coatings, lubricants, candles, and oils and waxes. And there's a real opportunity, to reuse and reduce our plastic problem that we have in this world. And hydrogen is a key for delivering that recycle potential. Okay, so just a few concluding thoughts. Hydrogen, and we've discussed some of it, is revolution our energy matrix. It will be key to helping in our journey for net zero, but it is a major challenge. It's not easy. There's a lot of work to be done, but what I have seen with working from our partners in GenCom, that we do have the innovators that can deliver. It is important that our universities and industries work together and be focused, and because together they can deliver robust and sustainable solutions. So it's essential that we keep working together and innovating, developing, coming up with new ideas, developing new opportunities, and we have to keep working on how that we can make sure that our offshore wave, tidal, geothermal, AD solutions can all work and meet and deliver on the targets that we have. GenCom has shown how energy innovation can work, and it is pointing the way to a clean and sustainable future. Thank you, Paul.
Mark, excellent presentation as always. Thank you very much indeed. But there's no such thing as a free lunch, as we always say. And we have a few questions for you just coming up. But one thing I will remark on, and Mark touched on it there, it's not an energy solution just for us. Every area is going to be different, and every area is going to have a different mix. That was highlighted in our previous webinar with ITSIS and Bosch, looking at the German solution, which is a different mix for ours. And it's highlighted in a question or a statement from Barry McMullen, Mark, you might want to address. And Barry says, for me, hydrogen is the only plausible vector for large-scale terawatt-hours energy storage and suitable for interseasonal shifting of variable renewable energy. It is essential that a strategy, i.e. Ireland, Northern Ireland, Europe and the Netherlands, that prioritise variable renewable energy in primary supply across all sectors. Given your experience there, especially in the renewable end, how do you think that mix not just addresses Northern Ireland, but how does it change with some of the conversations we've had with the other GenCom partners?
I think it's as I said, Paul, there isn't going to be one solution. I don't think we're going to get it right first time every time. I think what we have to keep moving forward. We believe, and in GenCom, we believe that hydrogen can and is that factor, and we should be investing more. We should looking more into those solutions. And we've always said there is not one solution, but it is going to be that key factor going forward as far as ensuring that for anything that is generated that has to be switched off for curtailment, we have a vector that we can store energy and then use it at another time. Not sure that answers the question, Paul, but I don't think there is one particular solution. And we won't get everything right first time, but we need to keep working at it.
Oh, excellent. The same person, Barry, has another question for you. And he talks about the overall greenhouse gas savings from bioenergy in general, and biomethane from AD is highly contested. You have to count the significant end-to-end impact and the potential CH4 leakage or slip. Is it premature to rush into anaerobic digestion?
We have a waste problem. What do we do with the waste? We can burn it, as we're doing at the moment. Or we can come up with solutions and come up with a full solution as far as the AD. So what we're doing for Energia, for example, we're trying to get the black bin waste. We're trying to get all the carbon and all the food waste out of the black bin, separated, and get that. So we're trying to help with that problem. That will then go through the AD plant. We'll be trying to take the CO2 out and extract the CO2 from the gas, and then we'll be looking at ways, once we have that digestate, of taking that digestate and then starting to work with it. So I think we do have a severe waste problem, and AD is the start of it, and that we need to keep working to make sure that we get solutions, so that when every stage that we're able to extract the most energy and keep it as clean as possible.
Excellent. There's a question from Alan McHugh, and I'll give it to you, and I'll also give it to Robert later on, and maybe Robert can address it during his presentation. Alan asks, roughly how many fossil fuel buses are displaced by the hydrogen buses now in use by TransLink, and are there any other transport providers using hydrogen buses?
At the moment, we're still in the trial and the project stage. So we have three buses at the moment. TransLink have ordered another 20, and we really hope that will add to more in the future, once we get the supply right, once we get the hydrogen, green hydrogen supply. Once we get that steadied off, and we can assure of a constant supply, then we'll be able to bring more buses online. But the pilot is just 3. There are no other companies that are using hydrogen buses at the moment. Dublin Bus are bringing another 3 buses in as a trial, and if that's successful, hopefully they will bring more. I don't know, does that answer, Paul?
That's okay. And there are other bus users in the UK that Robert will be able to highlight, and they work in Aberdeen and that. And one final question for you, Mark, is from Angus Block. How many green hydrogen projects are you aware of in Northern
Ireland? Well, personally, as Energia, we have been involved. We're involved in GenCom, obviously, but we're also we're sitting on the Belfast Power to X, which is looking at bringing hydrogen into Belfast, and we're also involved in the Artemis project that is looking at electric ferries, and our aim of it is to see if we can bring in hydrogen so we can get extended ranges on these electric ferries. I'm sure there's other projects that are going on. Those are the 3 that we are involved in.
Angus, in answering your question, there are a number of other projects as well, including Hazel and H2CAT, that we're helping drive and move forward. And it raises a good point. Hydrogen transition, it belongs to not one organisation or one group. It's an open platform, and that's what the webinars are there for, to engage with people. And when you hear the likes of Mark and that using the word we in GenCom is not an exclusive club. Ian Williamson and Rory Monaghan, who run the Community Hydrogen Forum, it's open for all to engage, to use that as an educational forum and an information forum. There's also Hydrogen Ireland, the association, which has its AGM next Friday. And those platforms are there as open doors to engage and to work with everybody across, because, as I said at the start, it's a two-way information flow. If we're going to really benefit from the opportunities that hydrogen bring, and those ubiquitous opportunities that hydrogen brings, we need everybody pushing the same way and looking at those different opportunities. Mark, many thanks. Thank you very much indeed.